A very warm welcome to Donington Park. We're racing at the GP circuit with ThundersportGB for round 2 of the Aprilia Superteens here on GP Racing Dream. A chance for Britain's finest talent aged 12 to 18 to start their careers and hopefully become the next Casey Stoner, who of course started his career out in this very class. Well, we've got 2 fine races to bring you, Aprilia Superteens at Donington, and after a dominant performance at Brands Hatch, championship leader Lewis Rollo of Scotland has managed to get himself on pole position once more here. There he is, the young Scotsman who was full of confidence after that fine race a few weeks ago. George Stanley, who enters this weekend 4th in the championship, is 2nd on the grid there. There's number 5 George with the black and green leathers. Number 41, that's Milo Ward from Wellingborough, racing for Motrack team. No sign of Sam Smith, 111, who entered this weekend 2nd in the championship. Was supposed to be 4th on the grid, but hasn't shown up yet. We just see a quick glimpse of 48 Hamish Adamski, will be starting 9th in this first Aprilia Superteen race. Lewis Rollo then will have a 40-point lead, well, he had a 40-point lead over Milo Ward coming into the event. Let's see how we get on. Can George Stanley get himself up there? 5th on the grid, incidentally, is Bradley Perry. Bradley, who's 5th in the championship and has been running well. His lap time suggests that race pace he should be able to keep up with the front runners. And the lights are on, wait for them to go out, and these identical 125cc production motorcycles all on the exact same Dunlop tyres are go here at Donington Park. The Aprilia Superteens as they head into turn 1 into Redgate. It's a good start from Bradley Perry, number 97, who's up in the 2nd, but it's Lewis Rollo that has got the whole shot. Milo Ward got swallowed up somewhere there and hasn't got off to the best of starts, number 41, but it's the championship leader who took all 4 victories that leads this one. We've got a rider down already. That's number 96, Connor Wheeler from Hatfield, riding for the Pit Lane Racing Team. Well, he walks away back to pit lane, funnily enough, so luckily rider up and okay, but at the front it is Lewis Rollo with the white hat, number 8 there. It leads from Bradley Perry, number 97. An indication for those of you at home wondering, riders with a red backdrop on their bikes and the white numbers, wearing orange bibs, are newcomers for the season. They will score points in the separate newcomers championship, but they do score points overall in the races for the Aprilia Superteen Championship. And it is the championship leader who took 100 points out of a possible 100 at Brands Hatch that leads. Lewis Rollo of Scotland heads into the Foggy S's, and he's not dropped the pack like he did at Brands. Bradley Perry holding on to him very well so far in the early stages of this Aprilia Superteen race. And Milo Ward is going to pull out of this one. Such a shame there for Milo, one of the pre-season favourites, and he's going to have to walk his bike back now into pit lane and hope that he can get it fixed ready for race 2. Back at the front, it is Lewis Rollo that leads from Bradley Perry, and they're going to come and complete the first lap and across the line. What's that? Just probably under about half a second. In 3rd place, it is Nathan Harrison that has managed to push his way up there from 8th on the grid from the 2nd row. Nathan's lap time that time around not quite as quick as the front 2, and George Stanley is there in around about 4th or 5th place. Back at the front, oh, and something's happened there to Lewis Rollo. He's lost out to Bradley Perry, so through Craner curves, that time around, Bradley Perry has moved up into 1st place, and this is a surprise. It's the first time Lewis Rollo's been chasing a bike for quite some time, but not for long as they head into the blind entry point that is Coppice. Lewis Rollo looking to try and get that inside line, but it doesn't work. Bradley Perry has closed the door. Rollo then tucks into the slipstream. These 125cc motorcycles, probably maximum about 32 brake horsepower. He pulls out of the slipstream and moves into the lead again. Through Foggy S as they go and up towards the Melbourne hairpin. Further back, that's Joe Thompson, number 74, just going through. And a number of riders looking to score their first points of the season. Bradley Perry then, well, what a ride this would be for Bradley. He entered the championship round here at Donington in 5th overall, and fellow 12-year-old. Both of these riders at the front of this are 12 years old, and Lewis Rollo has pulled out the slipstream and tucks on the inside. manages to get himself up into first place. Lewis, who had his first race towards the end of last year and had a right mix-up with the championship rivals that were at the time Tom Oliver and Joe Francis. As we see Ryan McAdam and various other riders going through picture. That's Alex Platt, number 43. Back at the front though, Bradley Perry causing Lewis Rollo all sorts of problems, but Rollo it is that has the lead. The rider from Haddington in Scotland leads. Bradley Perry from Kendal racing for the Tall Ridge Roofing Aprilia team. And well, Bradley's got that bike set up all right, and he's having a look up the inside into Coppice, and that's not going to work there just yet. Make their way onto the Dunlop Straight. Of course, that Dunlop Bridge no longer there, and the two Aprilia Superteen rivals make their way into the newly named Fogarty S's. Superteens riding the 2.5-mile circuit here this weekend. Current lap record belongs to Wayne Ryan, the 2009 Aprilia Superteen champion, who's gone to race in Spain this year with the Racing Steps Foundation team. These guys at the front currently around about a second or two off that record so far, but it is Bradley Perry that leads from Lewis Rollo. As they make their way down into turn one, Lewis Rollo very late on the brakes into Redgate, and Perry there just following him in second position. Further back in third and fourth, that is number 23 Nathan Harrison, and Ross Simpson with the orange vest in fourth place now. So a number of riders getting through. Gideon Thomas is doing pretty well, number 67. George Stanley up there. Hamish Adamski up in the top 8, and Zach Cordery, number 122. The leaders make their way, though, into McLean's and up towards Coppice. This championship, of course, long-standing supporters of Nitro that supply many of the riders with the helmets and leathers for this class, and well, since day one really. That's why it's called the Nitro Newcomer Championship for those novices in the Aprilia Superteens for this year. Pretty much every rider that finished in the top 10 last year have all moved on to the Aprilia 450 class that you'll be able to see on GP Racing Dream, the next step on Motors TV. So keep a beady eye on that. But back at the front, Bradley Perry is causing problems now for Lewis Rollo. And could this be the first time that we see Bradley Perry take a race win in the 2012 season? The last lap flag is out. It is, of course, only the second round of the championship. They go to Mallory next at the end of April. And Lewis Rollo, once again, late on the brakes into Redgate and takes the lead. Bradley Perry just on the outside with the orange bib on, trying to go around the outside, and then they'll give them the inside line as they head into Craner Curves and down towards the old hairpin. Bradley Perry it is that leads. Lewis Rollo in second place. They're pretty much side by side now as they go into Schwantz Curve, which will be flat out on a Superteen bike. There's number 95 Ross Simpson ahead of Gideon Thomas, 67. That's the fight for fourth and fifth. Third currently belongs to Nathan Harrison. Back at the front though, just to the back of your picture, we're just coming up to lap William Keynes, but it's Lewis Rollo that has the advantage as they go into the Foggy S's, but Bradley Perry out of shot is quick through the Melbourne Loop. Through the Foggy S's goes the young Scotsman. Bradley Perry right behind him. This the battle for third. That's Nathan Harrison ahead of Ross Simpson and Gideon Thomas and George Stanley. And as they come into the final corner, Bradley Perry looks like he's got this one. Lewis Rollo around the outside. They're going to be side by side across the line. Who's going to get this one? Oh, it's so close. It's going to be Lewis Rollo. Well, he had to work for that one. 5/100ths of a second Lewis Rollo wins by, but Bradley Perry, number 97, should be very proud of himself. He's rattled the cage of the young Scotsman, and maybe for race 2 he'll be able to get up on that top step. It's the win then for Rollo from Bradley Perry, who is the fastest of the newcomer riders. Harrison in third ahead of Simpson, Thomas, Stanley, Adamski, Cordery, Joe Thompson in 9th, and Keenan Armstrong in 10th place. There's a very happy Lewis Rollo in the middle, Bradley Perry to the left, and Nathan Harrison on the right. In the newcomers, Bradley Perry took the win from Ross Simpson and Gideon Thomas.
Nathan Harrison, third place, Aprilia Superteens overall. Good race for you?
Yeah, it was good, yeah. I didn't think I was going to get it, to be honest,
Okay.
Oh, excellent. Have you got some people you'd like to thank?
Yeah, Stewie Robinson helped me get the bike together. Steve Gurney for all his help. Derek and Anne Huxley for building the engines. My mum and dad, and Glenn, my brother, and Kelly at the copy shop for making the stickers.
Excellent. Excellent. Well done, Nathan. And over to Bradley Perry, second place, Aprilia Superteens overall, and indeed winner of the Nitro Newcomers. That was a really close finish.
Oh, it was really close to Lewis, battling everywhere, passing every single corner, and he just nipped me to the line.
Well, everybody enjoyed it, and you had everyone on the edge of their seats. Who'd you like to thank, mate?
I'd like to thank all my sponsors, especially Bob Jackson, Dunlop for tyres, everybody, thanks.
Well done, Bradley. Now over to Lewis Rollo. 5 races out of 5 now. How do you feel about that one? That was close though.
Yeah, well, since the start at Brands I kind of got away, but then I got a race by Bradley, which was really good.
Yeah, excellent. Well, that was a fantastic finish and everybody enjoyed it. Who'd you like to thank?
I'd like to thank all my sponsors, family, friends, mum, dad, Alan McIntosh, Steve Jones and Mike for building my engines.
Lewis Rollo, winner of the Superteens overall, very well done.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here from Donington Park, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with race 2 in just a minute.
It all started back in 1976. Orleans, the original gold. We've always stayed ahead of the competition by keeping our clients ahead of the competition. Whether you're a professional racer or simply looking for the perfect driving experience, Orleans shock absorbers offer superior performance, safety, and comfort. We are the cutting edge of racing technology. And with over 30 years of experience and a never-ending flow of innovations, we intend to keep pole position. Our dedicated staff works side by side with the greatest racing teams in the world to deliver suspension without suspense. Simply put, Orleans shocks are state-of-the-art for motorcycles, cars, four-wheels, and snowmobiles. The number of fans and customers are growing, and the demand for excellent service is increasing. To be in the forefront of advanced suspension takes passion. A passion for perfection in every detail, in every part. With more than 200 World Championship titles in racing, we boast with the very latest technological advancements in both conventional and electronic suspension systems. Our world-leading product lines, TTX and CES, are the result of this devotion to detail and innovation. All products undergo numerous tests to ensure optimal function and quality. To us, striving for excellence is common sense. The future of high-performance suspension is here. Join us.
Welcome back to Donington Park, the Aprilia Superteens here on GP Racing Dream with ThundersportGB at Donington, and it's Lewis Rollo that lines up on pole position. That was his 6th victory out of 6 races so far in 2012, and I'm not sure if we've seen any rider do that, certainly in the last 5 or 6 years in the Superteens. Second on the grid there, George Stanley. Well, he couldn't quite get it onto the podium in that first one. Maybe he can do it here. All eyes, however, on Bradley Perry. You'll see him just on the second row in the background there, number 97. Milo Ward, well, such bad luck in that first race. He had to pull out of it quite early on the first lap. Will he be able to get in the mix? And 4th on the grid, we welcome back Sam Smith, 111. And Sam is more than capable of getting his name onto one of the trophies at the end of this race. 2.5 miles, the Donington Park GP circuit, and 8 laps for these young 12 to 18-year-olds to face. Can Lewis Rollo make it 2 weekends without a loss? Away they go from the line, and George Stanley's got away very well. Lewis Rollo's lost out a tiny bit there on the right. He's been hung out to dry. And look at Bradley Perry from the second row. Is he going to get the whole shot? Not quite. Lewis Rollo comes around the outside. Oh, and Rollo's been pushed out onto the dirt. He stays upright. It looks like it's George Stanley, number 5, that has got the best of it. He has. But as they make their way through Craners, he's under pressure already from number 97, Bradley Perry. And in third there, just on the outside, number 23, that is Nathan Harrison, who we saw take third place in that race just a little while ago. So Lewis Rollo, well, he's got it all to do there. There's a rider just sitting up and rolling off. We'll have to take a look and see who that is in a little while. I'm not quite sure, but at the front there's already a change for the lead. George Stanley is overtaken into McLean's Bradley Perry, but he's going to try and seize this opportunity. He must have seen that Lewis Rollo was pushed out early on, and Rollo, well, I'll try and keep my eye out to see whereabouts he is on circuit, but he's certainly lost out on a couple of places. In fact, I don't think he's lost out on that many at all. Is that him still in the top 3 or 4? Lewis Rollo. Well, lap times, once again, we're looking out for the low 55s, and Lewis Rollo, that is indeed him that's managed to get his way up into third place. Milo Ward, after that DNF in race 1, is in 4th. And a bit further back, you see the likes of Hamish Adamski, Joe Thompson, Connor Moody, Nathan Harrison. But leading after lap 1, it's going to be number 97, Bradley Perry, who just lost out on that race victory. Can he get his first ever Super Teen win here at Donington Park? Well, there's one young man that's looking to try and stop him, and he's usually quite good on the brakes into Redgate. There he goes, number 8, Lewis Rollo, the championship leader. A bit further back, that is number 95, Ross Simpson, tussling with number 41, Milo Ward. And just behind Milo is 111, Sam Smith from Staining. George Stanley there, number 5, just ahead of 95, Ross Simpson, and there's Milo Ward, and he's taking a good line through the old hairpin and has made up a place there. So good move there from Milo Ward. He moves ahead of Ross Simpson, but back at the front, Lewis Rollo it is that now leads, number 8 from Bradley Perry. It's normal services resumed at the front as Rollo will look to try and break away from Bradley Perry now. Perry's lap times in the low 56s. The lap record, just so you know, is a 1:55 dead, so they're not really that close to breaking any lap records here today just yet, and that was with the old S's as well, the old foggy S's. So that was a hell of a lap time from Wayne Ryan in 2009. Doesn't look like it's going to get beaten here today. A bit further back, that's number 44, Connor Moody, just going through, and 58, Cameron Lee. But back at the front, Lewis Rollo it is that leads around Goddard's, followed by Bradley Perry. George Stanley in third place this time, looking to pick up yet another podium. He entered the weekend in 4th overall. Bradley Perry, who started this weekend at Donington in 5th, will surely end the weekend in the top 2 or 3 if he can finish this race where he is. There's 111, Sam Smith just taking a place away from Milo Ward. Ross Simpson has already moved up a spot, so these 3 currently fighting it out for 4th, 5th and 6th on circuit. But at the front, every time Lewis Rollo, number 8, looks to try and break away, young Lewis, who's won 6 out of 6, Bradley Perry comes back at him, and it's one of those situations where I think Lewis Rollo is just going to have to try and work out a way of crossing that line before him, because he's not going to get rid of him. He's certainly not going to get out in the front and break away. His lap times are about 2/10 slower than Bradley Perry's at the moment. So Perry doing a fine job at the front, and it would be great for this championship if we could see Bradley take a win here at Donington. It would certainly set him up nicely as they head to Mallory Park just at the end of April. Lewis Rollo it is that leads from Bradley Perry. A little bit further back there, that's Sam Smith, followed by Ross Simpson and Milo Ward. George Stanley currently in a bit of a lonely third place, but with an excellent view of this battle for the win out front, Lewis Rollo and Bradley Perry. So across the line they go, and Rollo this time put in a better lap than Perry. In third there, George Stanley, well, he's a few tenths a lap slower than the two leaders, but he is a little bit quicker than the chasing pack in fourth, fifth and sixth. That fight now being led by Sam Smith, who's got past Simpson and Milo Ward. Behind Milo Ward, we have Cameron Lee, Zach Cordery, Gideon Thomas and Hamish Adamski, all fighting it out for top 10 finishes. But it's Lewis Rollo, the young Scotsman with the white helmet, that leads from Bradley Perry. 0.05 of a second was all that separated these two 12-year-olds in that earlier race. And it's surprising, you know, for such young riders how much respect they give each other out on circuit. You not see these two bash into each other or exchange paintwork. Some good, solid riding. Bradley Perry, number 97, looking to get his first ever outright Aprilia Superteen win. He is leading the newcomer standings overall, as we see Zach Cordery going through with the orange bib. There's the leader with the number 8 on the helmet and the Scottish flag on the knee sliders that leads Bradley Perry first and second. George Stanley's already gone through, the young rider from Stapleton. He's in third place. And this battle's still going on for fourth, fifth and sixth. But look at the front here. Lewis Rollo, who's been leading the last couple of laps, has lost it again to Bradley Perry. So Perry makes his way into the lead once more. George Stanley still in third place. Here he is now. This should still be a very respectable result for George, who's leading that fight for fourth, fifth and sixth. He's on that final podium spot, and the last lap flag is out now. We've already lost Alex Platt. He went down a little earlier on, number 43, so hopefully rider up and okay. But it's now the final lap, and Bradley Perry leads as they go into the halfway point of this lap. They make their way around Schwantz Curve and coming up to McLean's now. What will Lewis Rollo have up his sleeve? He's won all 6 of the races so far this season. This is the 7th, and he's got some good drive on the exit of McLean's as they move up to Coppice. He's going to try and take that wide line, is he, into Coppice, which will give him good drive onto the Dunlop Straight. And they're going to be side by side. Meanwhile, that tussle for 4th and 5th is being led by Ross Simpson. He's just got himself ahead of Sam Smith. In fact, Milo Ward has just dropped off the back of these two a little bit. Let's see that scrap for the lead, though, as they come into the final corner. And Bradley Perry's got the inside line, and he's trying to block Lewis Rollo. Rollo's going to try and pull out of the slipstream, and they're side by side again. It's going to be a photo finish, and Bradley Perry wins his first ever Aprilia Superteen race by 0.09 of a second. And for the first time this season, we have a new winner. Lewis Rollo just misses out on victory to Bradley Perry. We have a championship at last. Here's confirmation then of the results in race 2 at Donington Park. Perry it is that wins from Rollo. An excellent performance from Stanley in 3rd, ahead of Smith, Simpson, Ward, Cameron Lee in 7th, Zach Cordery 8th, Gideon Thomas 9th, and Hamish Adamski in 10th. And there is a more than happy Bradley Perry in the middle there. Let's have a look at the championship standings then, and it is, as we thought, Lewis Rollo that leads overall. Bradley Perry, though, has moved from 5th to 2nd, ahead of Sam Smith. George Stanley, Ross Simpson, Ward is in 6th, ahead of Thomas Harrison Adamski, and Cameron Lee is in 10th. In the newcomers, Bradley Perry got an unassailable lead over Ross Simpson. Gideon Thomas, Keenan Armstrong in 4th, and Connor Wheeler in 5th. Zach Cordery, Brocklesby, Vallely, Keynes, and Wilkes rounds up the top 10.
George Stanley, 3rd place, Aprilia Superteens. Was it a good race for you?
Oh, it was an alright race. I got the whole shot going into the first corner, but unfortunately I couldn't keep up to the pace that Lewis and Bradley were setting.
Yeah, got people to thank.
I'd like to thank my mum for coming, my grandma and granddad for coming, my dad for mechanicking for me.
But it was too late in the brakes and he come off myself and let Sam up the inside. But I'm really happy to be up on the front. Like.
Excellent, well done. Thanks.
I'd like to thank my dad, Gail for coming this weekend, John Lloyd from Nitro, all the Thundersport. Thank you very much.
Callan Cooper, what about that then? A fantastic race.
It was a hard race. I had a bad start. I think I was 8th on the first lap, but I managed to just pick riders off. But with 2 laps to go, I found myself at the front, and the first few laps were just so scary, with riders passing me and stuff.
Well done, Callan. Who would you like to thank, mate?
I'd like to thank my mum, dad, nan, granddad, John Davies from JDF, and Thundersport crew, and everyone else who helped out, Ian Newton, of course, the Aprilias, and they've all done a great job. I'd like to say big thanks to them.
Well done, bless you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. It's been great.
Well, after a great round here at Donington Park, we'll hope for more of the same at Mallory next time on GP Racing Dream, the next step. For now, though, I've been Steve Day. See you then.